Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Arsenault. I am the Protopsaltes, the first chanter here at St. George, Greek Orthodox Church. And I just want to say a few words about the iconography of the Last Judgment. And just very short, because there's a lot to this. And if you go out on the web, you will find various sites that talks about the icon of the Last Judgment. So I won't go into all the details here, but I did send you an email, 50 or so people out there, and there is an icon on this handout besides the Vespers notes. On the outline of the Vespers, there's also about an icon of the Last Judgment. And so if you have that, you might want to look at that, because this is a very detailed teaching icon. It's a didactic icon, which we talked about last time. And the idea of this icon is to give us various aspects of the faith, of orthodoxy, of the process of salvation. And in this case, the Last Judgment is, in a sense, the end of the story. It is the time when Christ returns and makes all things whole. When Adam and Eve are restored to their proper place. We are restored to our proper place in our relationship with God and our relationship with other people. And it's God that does this, right? So it's the time, it's looking at the time of the resolution of history and of our human struggle and of the world, really. And so in this icon, we see Christ in a mandorla, which of course is from the dark cloud comes the glory of God. That's the kavod, right? The kavod in Hebrew meaning out of the dark cloud is the glory of God. And here is God himself, Christ, in the center and in the upper part of the icon. And to the right and left are the saints. There are, well, first of all, the angels, and then the apostles. And then you see, curiously, the Mother of God to Christ, right? And John the Baptist to Christ's left. Now here in the iconography of the church, you see this icon of Christ. And this is the icon of Christ of the second coming, who resolves all things. And you can see that the way the icon does it is it puts this icon in the center with John the Baptist, the prodromos, to his left and the Theotokos to his right. So you see it resembles this scene here in the church. Another thing that you may not be aware of is that there is what's called the judgment seat. Now, in the Bible, it's also the mercy seat and the judgment seat. It's both things. And here at St. George, we have the judgment seat or the mercy seat. And you can just see a little bit. I won't go through the middle there because I'm not a priest. But you can see a chair there. And that's normally in back of the altar in the apse. And this is the judgment seat or the mercy seat. And Gregory Palamas, in his commentary on this day, says that God is merciful. It is the mode of God's existence to love and to be merciful. And the way that we receive the mercy of God from the mercy seat of God is to be merciful ourselves to other people. When we are merciful, God is merciful to us. When we are kind and loving to others and take on the mode of God, which is love, the mode of God is love, right? The mode of the created world is necessity, right? We do things because we have to. You get the car fixed because it doesn't work, right? Well, this is the mode of necessity. We go out to eat because we eat because we're hungry. But that's not how God functions. God functions is his mode of existence. His mode is love. And to be merciful. So what's about judgment, you know? Now, if you've, what I've experienced, that we've experienced being ancient of days here, is that when somebody dies, everything goes in the dumpster, right? Death is the great negator of all things, right? Everything loses all meaning at the time of death. In fact, that's what's so horrible about it, is you get these beautiful people that suddenly their body's inanimate, and we put them in the ground as if they had never been. And the Bible talks about this. The Psalms in the Orthros will talk about that. But however, death is also, and this is like the judgment of God, right? Death is also makes everything important. You and I are important. We see each other, we interact with each other. It is so important because of death. So it's odd that death has this kind of, it's a judgment in that nothing means anything. We think everything means and so important, it just gets buried in the ground. On the other side of the coin, this judgment of God, this death that goes on, also shows what is really important. Person to person relating, being whole and being a human being, but it truly means to be human. This is what's important, and we interact with each other in a very loving and caring way. This is what's important, and death helps us see that. And the monks will even say, there's a beautiful YouTube about Mount Athos, and it's in Greek, but it is with subtitles, and it has this monk showing these tourists around Mount Athos, and he goes up to the charnel house, you know, where all of the monks are buried, and you have all the heads here and the legs there, and we've seen them. They're all through the Middle East. And he goes up to the door and he says, "This is our theological school." And being mindful of death is a very important thing in order to be alive, we must be mindful of death. When we go around chasing as if death doesn't exist, we actually lose our life, the true meaning of life. Life has no meaning if we're just doing things, keeping busy. So anyway, in this icon you see, it presents the choice, of course, and the choice is life or death, mercy or non-being, really, being and non-being, the mercy of God or the judgment of God, which is you don't exist. And there are various aspects of it, and you will see different details at different scenes of the last judgment, the second coming. And the church puts it interestingly at the very beginning of Lent, because being mindful of death and being mindful of the end is important for us in our journey and our life journey, really, in the present. So I hope some of these observations you'll find helpful, and you will find that in the Vespers we do chant various verses that relate to the coming of the Lord, the trumpet, and the judge that comes. But remember, in Orthodoxy, it's not just a law court. It's not reduced to legalisms. It's reduced to what it means to be a human being and the direction that we're going in. And it presents the direction. And see if you can hear some of those themes when we chant them tonight. And you also notice them tomorrow in the Orthros service. You will notice some of the church's statements about the last judgment, or them being mindful of death and the second coming.